Okay, so we are recording. Baby boy is taking his nap, and this is usually the time where I like to get some charting in, especially if I'm looking for possible swings for the upcoming week. So I thought I'd come on here and chart with you guys and kind of give you an idea of what I like to look for. Now, mind you, everything I'm doing and going over, I do have a whole course that I call Brain Dump. It is located at thetradingmama.com. I will link it in the description box, but I go over exactly how I swing trade. I go over how I day trade, everything that I know to do that I'm actively doing in the market. I have a whole course on. Of course, you don't if you want to like look it up on YouTube, find out how to trade. Of course, there's a, a gajillion resources. However, if you're looking for how I do things and you want a more in-depth explanation, all of that information is going to be located in the brain dump. But I am going to come on here and kind of just give you guys a rundown of how it is that I look for potential swings. Now, we're looking at Tesla right now. My chart is a little chaotic because I was also day trading Tesla. Most of it was in May because I did take a month off. If you haven't seen that short that I did where I was saying how I took a sabbatical, sometimes you have to do that when you're trading, especially if you've been trading for as long as I've been trading. You can tend to get burnt out and just need a break. Like that's why those investment bankers and those hedge fund people go out. They go on breaks too. That's why June and July are always weird months to trade, or one of the reasons why. But nevertheless, my chart looks funky because I haven't really been updating it or. So one of the things that I like to do, which I do explain in the brain dump, is I like to um, go through this list first and just kind of sweep through, like clean out anything that doesn't need to be on there. All of these lines, for example, need to be deleted. So I'll go on here and delete all of these lines because these are lines that I use to indicate like day possible entry or like it's the whole day trading thing. Also, by the way, if you are someone who has my course and you're watching this video, please know I am going to be recording an updated um, thing that I've been doing with the day trading. I've been implementing this like opening range reversal type of thing. I've been doing that in the month of July because a lot of the indices have been moving sideways or ranging. And so playing the reversals in that which is opening range breakout, has been really kind of fun, honestly, to play. I tend to kind of move around a little bit. Um, like with my strategies, but sometimes you do have to adjust. Sometimes the market doesn't always accommodate an original strategy. So I do like to have a couple that I can pull from my pocket. So I am going to make a in-depth video about how I've been doing the opening range breakout, opening range reversals, how I've been implementing the stochastic indicator. I'm going to make a whole video on that, and that'll be on my brain dump, and that is what I've been doing as of July 2026. I of course have back tested this. I don't trade any strategy without having at least 100 plus back testing results. So yeah, but again, that brain dump is all for what I'm doing, what I know how to do. It also goes over psychology, it goes over risk management. I cover everything that I feel like you would need to know to go from wanting to learn how to trade, starting out trading, to you're making some money. So, um, anyway, that'll be on there. But those lines are more day trading and not necessarily swing trading, but we're looking for swings. So I want to get rid of anything that's not conducive to swings. Also, let me move my little things. Also, something to keep in mind on every chart, just about, it should be on every chart if it's not. On the top right corner, I always put the ATR. This is average true range. I put that on the top corner of every single stock that I have because I want to know how much that stock moves. I don't like to trade stocks that don't move much during the day, like on a daily average. Tesla right now, or at least at the time when I made this 13, I typically update my ATRs every like 4 to 6 weeks. Just and then it also depends on whether or not that stock has a stock split. crazy earnings or just a lot of news in the last 4 to 6 weeks, I will update that. But as of right now, we're looking at the 13. So that means on average, Tesla moves about $13 a day. This is on the daily, by the way. That's going to be on the top of every stock that's on this watch list. I'll go over my watch list. This video might be a little long, so grab a snack, a drink. I would have wine, but it's 3 o'clock right now. So if you're watching this later, drink for both of us. Anyway, I'm also looking initially to make sure that zones that have been already put in place from weeks and weeks ago are still in fact maintained. I'm also looking at gaps. Gaps are going to be beige lines. Zones are going to be orange lines, orange boxes rather. The red filling boxes are sell zones or supply zones, and the ones that are green filling are going to be demand zones or buy zones. I use those words interchangeably because they mean the exact same thing. And then the regular green lines are just support and resistance, which are not the same thing as zones. They're not the same thing. They are still levels, like key levels, but they're not zones. We're going to delete that. We don't need that. And for example, like this right here, this zone, Tesla has already blown through and closed outside of, so this zone is no longer applicable. So what I like to do, I explain this in the course, of course, but I like to go and find another zone. I don't need that line either. And my gaps are still maintained, it looks like. Nothing has, wait, hold on, is that gap filled? Almost, not completely. I like the gap to be completely filled. I don't need this gap on the hour because I'm not day trading Tesla, so I'm going to delete that. But we do need to find 2 more zones because the one we had has been deleted or had to be deleted. So I'm going to, and again, I go into great detail on how I look for zones in my course, so I'm not going to like repeat every single thing. But I am looking for where price stutters, where price dips, and if it's happened multiple times, I do like to consider that because that is a place where price might be returning to gather more orders, or possibly to blow through, but you kind of want to get an idea of where you can project price to be going to. So we're going to capture this little area right here, and I have a ton of pre-saves on here. Also, by the way, if you do have my course, because this is not just a set it and forget it type of course. I'm gonna always be uploading and adjusting. I do want to also start having like at least maybe like a monthly or bi-monthly Zoom call with everybody. But if you do have my course and there is something that you want me to specifically address or talk about, please let me know. Send me an email, and I will work to see how to accommodate, because I do want to help those who are willing to help themselves and invest in themselves. So we're gonna acknowledge this zone. I don't actually. Yeah, no, we can acknowledge this. It's not the cleanest zone, but I don't wanna ignore it. And we do have some gapping. Now, I'm going to, for the time being, because we don't need these lines, I'm going to erase all my lines here to keep the chart pretty clean. And I'm going to get rid of the MACD because we don't need to see that either. That way, I mean, I can see the zones, but I think this will be easier for anybody watching this to see a little bit more clearly. We do have a little bit of a gap here that I did not chart previously. Don't know why, but we're going to tackle it now. I chart gaps because gaps are always filled. The thing is, we don't always know when the gap is going to be filled, but we do want to keep in mind, because if you ever pay attention to why stock just plummeted to a certain point out of nowhere, a lot of times they're returning to a gap. So we want to keep that in mind. And because this gap is close to this gap here, I'm going to make it look a little different so I don't get confused. And I'm going to do the same thing down here. Let's see. That was a gap, so I'm going to delete that. So that gap has been filled, and I delete the gaps that are filled. And so this gap is still maintained, and this one is $2. This is not that significant. I like to watch out for pretty significant gaps. Like this is a $10 buyer's gap because buyers created it. This is math. This is like a 12, I think, dollar gap or something like that. Again, buyers created that. So we do want to keep that in mind as well. And then I do like how price keeps returning to this area down here. So I am going to mark that out. So we have our two zones, and then we have a new gap that we have in place. And you typically delete this. I don't know what that is. But you typically, can I anchor? I'm gonna anchor that. Yeah, that way you're not moving. So, yeah, I don't want you all in the way. And as you can see, because Tesla had an earnings on the 22nd, I'm recording this on the 20, what is today? On the 25th, I recorded this. So Tesla did have earnings on this past Thursday. So this is that dip right here. Tesla dropped $54. I did play shorts on this day too, by the way. So I was kind of anticipating that. And so we are going to acknowledge the new gap. I don't draw a gap until the day is closed. So this is Friday, this is Thursday, day closed. So this is a new gap that we will anticipate at some point Tesla returning to. Now, as you can see, for example, you have a gap up here and you have a gap down here. So Tesla is technically in between two gaps, and also there's a buyer's zone, buy zone here. So of course, we would look for other indicators to support this theory, but ideally, we would be looking for some sort of cool off of selling around this area, and then we could be looking for a potential call swing up and possibly to return to this seller's gap. But at least this bottom part would be like TP1, and then maybe even all the way up here to fill that gap in would be maybe like a TP2. That's a $70 move. That's not a bad payday. And of course, because you're swing trading, you probably want to take a few months, like a month or two. Tesla moves pretty good, but like I said, I would like to give it some time if I'm swinging this to see what it does. But we don't know. Like I said, this is just without me looking at other indicators, and we don't have enough information. But that would be a nice move if it did that, of course, in theory. But right now what I'm doing is cleaning off these charts, and then also I want to make sure to note any stocks that are going to be in actual zones. So if Tesla was sitting in this zone right now, I would come up here to the flags, right up here, flag symbol. And I have all my flags, I have flags color coded. These are standard for everybody's trading view, but all these colors mean something specific to me. And green would indicate buy zone. Red, for example, indicates sell zone. Sorry, distracted. But it's not in a zone, so I'm not going to do that. But I am looking for that. I want to see if there's any stocks that are currently sitting in a zone that I can look at potentially entering into in this upcoming week. So Tesla's not that, so we're cool. But what I could do, because I really am interested in Tesla, Tesla's my baby, by the way. Like I am very, very biased on Tesla. I love to trade Tesla. So I am going to make a line, and I'm going to show you how I do this. So let's say because Tesla is close to the buy zone and I'm very interested in trading Tesla if it looks the way I need it to look by the time it enters into this, I'm going to put a line right at the top part of this buy zone, and I'm going to select this alarm symbol. It says add alert. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to leave price there and hit crossing down. Okay. And then I'm gonna leave it at once per minute because I want to know as soon as it touches this. I want to know. I am going to leave this on the daily. Usually I go into a slower time frame, but I'll leave it on the daily. And it'll have the expiration date. And you can come in here and change your app sounds. I have everything already the way I want it to. It's notifying me in the app. It'll also send me well, it used to send me email. I think I took that off. Yeah, but it'll come up on my phone too as like a notification on TradingView. So I don't need it to give me a text message, but I do have it notified, and then of course a little alarm. So I'm gonna hit create, and once you know you did it right, when the little symbol pops up uh, next to this, which I don't see, so we need to come in here and figure out what's going on. Well, okay, so I don't know if you guys can actually see. Oh, you can't. You can't see it to the right. Let me come back on here. Crossing down, save. Oh wait, no. That's that's an old alert. Let me delete that. I have some old alerts on here. This is also part of cleaning out my charts. Okay, so let me go back to daily. Okay, it's here. It just took a second to load. But the way you can tell whether your alert is active is one of the ways is to make sure you have a little alarm clock looking thing right next to the line. And as you can see, it's there, so that alarm is set, and it'll basically let me know that as soon as price comes down to 301.96, you can't see the full price. Actually, hold on. Let me move this. There you go. Now you can see the price. Okay, so when price comes down to 301.96, we now know that it is in the buy zone, and I'm going to get an alert, so I don't have to watch this. So now we can go to the next chart. So now we're on CrowdStrike, and once again, I'm just looking to make sure that zones are still in effect, no gaps were created, and if it is in fact in a zone. And this is going to go by pretty quickly at this point. So the answer is no, it's not in the zone. There were no gaps, and we would be looking in theory, because we are in a bullish trend right now. We are looking for a return into a possible continuation to the top. Oh, and they also just had a stock split not too long ago. So we would probably need to do the ATR. Now, I do not I do not have the pro subscription to TradingView, because I just don't see a point in paying extra for things that I don't need. So a lot of times I'll put the ATR indicator on here, and I'll use it for the ATR, and then I'll just delete it because I don't need it up here. And so that frees me up to use and add other indicators if I need them. But for the most part, the two that I use, the indicators that I use, like the MACD and all my EMAs that I have invisible right now. Oh, and I do have VWAP for my day trading, but those are it. And then ATR, I come in here and use it and turn it back off. But because it had a stock split, like I said earlier, when they have stock splits, I do like to come in here and update that. So let's see, we did have an ATR of 19, and right now, see, look at that, the ATR is 9.68. So that's a huge difference. This is why I update it when I see stock splits. So I'm just going to put 9, I'm just going to round it down, actually. So ATR of 9, not 19 anymore. So now we have that updated, and I can move that. Well, it's still in the ATR, because I have on the side, you can't see it, but my watch list has all of my stocks categorized by ATR, because that's how neurotic I am. So, so yeah, actually, I might just leave ATR up for right now, just so that I can, because I haven't updated this probably in a while, so let me just leave that up. Is Tesla still the same? Oh, Tesla is actually 18 now, so let's change that. 18. Okay. So CrowdStrike is, we can't do anything with it, but we did update the ATR because the stock split. Cool. Also, I don't like to trade things that have too high of a ceiling in the last 52 week or the last year. This is the 52-week high. It was trading at a I don't know if it was trading at an all-time high, but it was trading at a, no, it was trading at an all-time high too. So yeah, I tend to let things cool off. I don't like trading things with no ceiling, because a lot of the reasons or a lot of the ways that I like organize my charts, it requires me to have not just a demand zone, but a sell zone. And if we're at all-time highs, there is no sell zone. So I don't like that. I like ceilings. So we're probably going to wait for CrowdStrike to cool off a little bit more. Let's go to Netflix. Let's see what Netflix is doing. So Netflix, It did not blow through this zone, so we're going to leave that there. I was looking to make sure that this was the candle I needed to see. So it opened outside of the zone, but it did honor that zone. It just kind of pulled in. It looks like it may have just grabbed some extra liquidity. This looks to be, oh, this is right after earnings. So usually you'll see freakishly long candles or crazy dips after earnings. So that's not surprising. And it does look like it's in the process of possibly filling in the seller's gap that was created from this earnings back on the 16th of July. I would be curious to see, but this is a perfect example actually of why we do chart zones. This zone was charted from back here. So we're over here August 15th of 2024, guys. 2 years ago, this zone was created, and it came down here, touched this, collected some buyers, and now it's going up. This is why we chart zones. Because you could have easily, had I seen this, I wasn't looking at it as I just started back trading like a couple days ago, and it was day trading, wasn't swing trading. But had I seen this, I could have easily grabbed a call, set my stop loss somewhere below this zone, and you can even write this zone to zone. You just need to know how to chart your zones. But yeah, so it does look like we just left the zone. We're up here. The zone was down here, so we missed it. There's no FOMO over here. FOMO is fear of missing out. So we do not jump in this because, well, it was down here. No. If it's in a zone, cool. If it's not, that's not part of our rules. It's not part of our trading plan. So we wish those who got into this stock the best of luck, and we keep it moving. So we're going to go down to Coinbase now. Coinbase is in a zone, right? Yeah. I don't like that. Oh, wait, hold on. Did we look at Netflix's HDR is still the same? Okay, cool. So let me delete this because we are still cleaning up this chart as well. I don't like how it's been consolidating in between these two zones. I mean, some people do like to play zone to zone, like in between the two. You can do that. I mean, as far as just ranging, this has just been ranging here, so you can just go from here to here to here to here. This is not necessarily a sell zone though. But I am interested in potential flag patterns, by the way. So we do have this downtrend here. Let me draw it so you can see. Okay, so we have a line here, and you get pretty good at being able to see these things the more you chart and trade. You have a line here. So you have this like range of where the stock is just ranging in between these two lines here. So, and then you have this huge push to the downside. So in theory, this would be your flag. So what we would be looking at, because we are currently downtrending, is a push to the downside and possibly coming down to this level here. Now, again, nothing is for certain. This could come up here and then push up and then sail to the moon. But because we look at patterns and we study history, history tells us that we're looking at something that would possibly be going to the downside. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm going to mark this as a red just because we're looking at a potential flag. And what we can do also is come in here and we can make notes for ourselves, for our future selves, so that when we come back in here, because I do have a pretty nice size watch list, so I don't always remember what I was saying or what I was thinking, which is also why I'm really glad I'm recording this, because I could also use this to go back and, what did I just say again? But I'm going to come in here and put, I just like to call them bear flags. Now, they have technical names, but don't have time. So I'm just going to put bear flag because I know what I mean when I say that. So that gives me an idea of what I was looking at and why I charted this. And it's just really quick to just come back in here and see it. So ATR is now 9, so I'm going to change that. I'm trying to remember the last time I should probably start putting the dates in here, but it's okay. We're at the end of August. Maybe I'll start doing, we're at the end of August. So this is a bear flag, so we are going to, so yes, it's ranging, And that's the thing too, you have to keep in mind when the more it ranges or revisits a zone, the weaker that zone is. So even the fact that it has just been sitting here trying to buy, it's like buyers have been trying to push out of this zone, but sellers are just like, no, and they're slamming it right back down. That's a sign that it's weak. It's a weak zone. We are not going to delete the zone yet because well, actually it did kind of blow through here. So we can actually, in fact, delete it because it wasn't, let me show you. So when it blows out, this zone is quite massive actually. Probably could have made that zone a little smaller. Where did I, let's draw. Let's go back. What is this? Oh, okay. So I made this zone from this movement here. So yeah, quite massive zone, but Coinbase, quite massive zone for Coinbase is what I'm trying to say. So when price closed outside of here, this zone actually was invalidated. So we're out anyway. And then price has just been ranging ever since, and it's quite too close for me personally. I don't want to draw a zone just yet. I want to wait until it breaks out of this, but it's just giving me indication that we're just looking for a push to the downside. Just my opinion. We are approaching earnings too, which is something to consider in 5 days. So earnings is on this upcoming Thursday. So maybe what ends up, and we're just guessing, just for S&Gs, right? Maybe price consolidates a little bit more, and then on earnings we just sweep to the bottom. I do like to keep an eye out for gaps just to make sure. It's like I said, I tend to see that happen a lot. And we do have, why am I not turning gaps? What is happening? Was this not substantial? I don't know. Let me do the gap. And also my little bookmarks or whatever you call those things, they're so unorganized. So if you read them, don't like they're so chaotic. They're years and years and years of, I should really go in there and clean it up. But anyway, so we do have a little small gap, but it is more of an incentive to see what happens. So anyway, this is Coinbase. Coinbase could also, use earnings and shoot back up to sell zone. So we'll see what happens. Let's keep going because I do want to try to get through at least half of this watch list before my kid wakes up. So, Meta just left a sell zone, it looks like, and created a gap. Meta is also, so we're approaching earnings for a lot of stuff. Since the earnings season, I don't know. I just decided to jump back into stocks like after taking a sabbatical. So I don't even know what's happening right now. So, but I do like to keep these up for this reason. So Meta's earnings is on next Wednesday, the day before Coinbase. So that's interesting. I've traded earnings, Facebook's earnings before. I don't like calling them Meta. I know they're Meta, but so they're right now currently situated inside of a buyer's gap. There's gaps all over the place. Very gappy. Meta is right now. Their ATR did increase to 24, which is interesting. So it's basically in between. It's in between. Well, it's inside of a buyer's gap, but it's kind of just it's just kind of sitting around. It's probably acknowledging this little area right here. I just don't like how splotchy it is. And also, if you can kind of notice, Meta hasn't really. It's kind of just going this way. We're not really going significantly up or down in a direction. So that's something of note as well. Usually if you see stocks like this doing this on smaller time frames, it's not the worst to try to day trade them because you could just play range to range if you were doing it day trading. But for a swing trader, all this is going to do is it's just going to eat at your time. Hate that. So yeah. So I don't really like just off of rip. I don't like the way Facebook is looking from a swing trader's perspective right now. I'd rather wait till it visits something. Maybe if we caught it up here, because before this it hadn't really revisited until I made it. So maybe if we caught it up here, there would have been a nice just ride to the downside. But until then, I'm just gonna wait. But I will be interested to see what it does with earnings, my guess is that it's just gonna dump. That's my guess. Especially with the MACD cross happening right now, I'm pretty sure. Uh, Let me put some lines on here, and we're about to death cross. Yeah, I see it dumping, but we'll see. Let's go to. I don't know why I have this on my watch list, actually, but I'm gonna seriously consider deleting this from my watch list. But for right now, we're just gonna. Not me throwing my microphone. Okay, 15 is the new ATR. Did I just mess my? Okay, I didn't. Okay, we're good. We're good. Oh, you can't see my ATRs. Oh, jeez. Okay. Maybe that works better. Yeah. Now you can see my ATRs. The ATRs have been up here this whole time, and you haven't been able to see them because my face is in the way. I didn't know. Sorry. So the ATR is 15. So I just come in here and I hit settings and I just change it up here, and I put it right at the top corner again. So there. So Palo Alto's the name. PANW is the indicator. I think you guys can see that, right? Yeah, you can see the ticker. It just double topped up here, but it's at all-time high, so don't like that. But that is a double top. If you want to know what a double top looks like, there you go. That is a double top, where basically you have 1, 2, right? And as you can see, it usually, a double top will usually touch in that same area, maybe go up a little higher, and that's usually kind of like a liquidity grab, and it'll go up a little higher and just dump. And usually when that happens, it's a big indicator of a reversal happening. So there's a reversal indicator. So yeah, that happened, and what would the way I would trade this type of pattern is I would wait for a break probably here. Nope, not consolidation entry. I'd probably wait for a break here and then ride that to like here, or maybe even here. Something of note. Let's see what that look like. Well, so this is just over 1-to-1 ratio, but down here we're looking at just over 2, 2 to 1. So that's not bad. It's not bad either. So yeah, but PNW as far as zones are concerned, but I mean, there's so many different ways to trade. It doesn't have to be just zones, and that's something also that I talk about. In my course, like there's so many ways you can trade. Now, I do think if you're starting out trading, just for just trying to give someone advice, if you're starting out trading, I would recommend you just focus on one specific pattern or one specific trading strategy. Don't learn them all. Don't learn them all. Just find one that makes sense, one that you can learn and just be obsessed with and get really, really good, like master that strategy. So if that is double tops, master double tops. If that's, or double tops, double bottoms, because those go hand in hand, master that. If that's zones, like I've been showing you, then master that. If that's flags, like I just showed you, then master flags. Like those are three very, very different trading strategies, patterns to look at, that are effective, that have been around since the beginning of trading. And I don't believe that there's one superior strategy than the rest of them. They all work. They all have their place in the market. And it can be very easily, as a new person trying to trade, to get overwhelmed with all the different strategies, but you just got to find one that makes sense for you, your personality. No one can tell you what that is. I learned a lot of them just because, well, I think it was the way that my mentor taught us. We that's just how we learned. But because I learned that way, I just wouldn't recommend teaching someone the way that I learned. I would recommend just being very fixed on one specific strategy, and just master that. So anyway, let's go to Adobe. What does it say? Sometimes I make notes all the time for myself. So, let's see. ATR first is still 10, so we're going to leave that there. I'm going to delete this. And it does look like we blew through this gap. As you can see, this gap was created on the 12th of June. And then it came down here and we hovered slightly above the demand zone before we came back up and blew through that gap. So we're going to delete that gap because it's no longer in effect. And it looks like we did come here and I made a sell zone. So it looks like I did chart some of these a while ago, but I did make this a sell zone and it came pulled back a little bit. And we are currently in a downtrend, as you can see. Also, if you're not really sure if how to tell the down, like, if you're just learning, what you can do is come in here into the extended line and start at a point, and you're just going to look for, I like to look for 3 touches. So that's 1, 2. Well, I tend to draw mine pretty tight, but that's 1, 2, 3. So that's your first one. And then what you can also do is what happened was, so that's your trend line, right? And this is showing you that we're at a downtrend. But then what happened was we came up here and we closed outside of this trend, right? So what you could do, this is kind of just the way I was taught a while ago. What you can do is come back in here and just look for another one. But the thing is, you're probably not gonna, like, we can do that too, because here, look, it's still 3 touches, but it's not a significant pullback. The reason why it's not even going to work, whether we did it that way or not, is because then it set and went in range. So it's not in any trend line. So we were downtrending, right? We were downtrending, and now we're in a range. So this is once again where I was like, people who are flag watchers could have saw, oh, there's your pull. Here is, remember, we try to connect the dots. We try to connect lines. I like to have at least 3. And so it is slightly moving up some. Connect. There we go. But because we were in a significant downtrend, you'd be looking for a break to write it down, which is what you could have done here. And once that candle closed and you did have some associated factors to give you indication that it is in fact dropping, you could have wrote it down to demand zone, for example, or just over the demand zone because it didn't quite touch that. But even still, it's a $40, $45 move. We were playing around earnings, so you would have had to be careful. But anyway, that's how I typically draw my zones. I like to draw, not my zones, I'm sorry. That's how I typically like to draw my lines. I like to draw my lines pretty tight. I know that might not be industry standard. Some people might kind of draw it like, they might do like 1 pullback. This is 1 pullback. It's still like it wouldn't matter how tight or not that you drew because it's still range. So that's just how I do it. Like I said, people might agree to disagree. That's the beautiful part about trading is nobody's chart has to look identical. As long as you can chart and make money, then I don't know. Anyway, that's just how I do it. Let me put it like that. I'm not telling you to do it like me. I'm just telling you what I do. But anyway, so we are not really inside a zone and there is no gaps or anything like that, but we're going to go ahead and go to Microsoft. Let's see what happened with Microsoft. Looks like I had already made a note of a potential bear flag happening too. I don't remember when I did this, but this is also why I like to make notes and kind of like, if you guys have ever seen like Guy's Grocery Game, like the episodes where they do like the relays, that's literally how I treat my charts. Like I like to leave clues and hints for my future self because I might come in here and not know what the hell is going on with Microsoft and just looking at like, oh, I already set up position size, I wrote bear flag, I already drew flag. Like those are like little clues I'm leaving my future self to let me know, hey, this is what you were thinking about the last time you were on this chart. So I recommend you do that if you have a pretty nice sized watch list. I've been curating this watch list for going on 6 years now. So Yeah. It's not small. I also don't recommend you do that starting out. If you're a new trader, like if you've been trading for under a year, do not have 22 stocks in your watch list. Focus on a solid, good two or three stocks. If you're options trading, but just make sure that those stocks do not trade the same way or go the same direction. Find stocks that trade opposite or don't trade anything like the other one. So typically that means you're probably going to be getting two or three stocks that are in different industries. So that's just a piece of advice. Full of advice in my course, by the way, but I'm just trying to, as I'm going, things that I feel like would be helpful for anybody because, I do want to help anybody out who's trying to. I mean, trading is the best thing that's ever happened to me. One of the best things that ever happened to me. So I love talking about trading, if you can't tell. So anyway, um, but yeah, looks like. Oh, so the ATR has moved up some, so I'm going to change that. We do have earnings coming up for Microsoft on the same day that, um, is that Meta? I think Meta and Microsoft have the same earnings date. Um, and so I'm looking at a potential move to the downside, but I personally, unless I'm like purposely trying to trade earnings, I tend to not want to trade around earnings. It just I've had I have a love-hate relationship with trading around earnings. But if you have enough time, like if you buy enough time as far as like your expiration, then earnings shouldn't really affect you too much. But I am curious to see if this is going to continue to drop. It did, in fact, close outside of here. I would have liked to see a little bit more volume, but we didn't really see that. But we did break that trend, and now we're heading down. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Facebook. But as of right now, just for the sake of me trying to do the zone method that I talk about in my course, it's not in a zone, so we're gonna have to wait. CRM just left out of a buy zone here, um, but it is ranging in between one that was created here that would have been better to catch. I like to catch them as soon, like once the buy zone is created, as soon as it revisits that, that is the best time to play this strategy. Like I said, the more a stock visits a zone, the more beat up it is, the weaker it is. So think of it like that. And so, but this right here is one swoop. But this is the first one. This was the strongest one. It came down and returned, it gets weaker. So ideally you would want this one. If I created this zone, the minute it leaves and comes back, this would have been the ideal opportunity to get in. And now that it's here again, it's not so strong. So keep that in mind as well. But we're in the middle of both, so it doesn't matter. AMD is close to the top of a all-time high, so we're gonna skip that because I just don't like to trade things that are too close. It's too close for me to even draw the zone. There's no significant nothing here. I don't like that. So we're gonna keep going. Now we're on QQQ, which is one of the three holy. I love QQQ, mostly because I trade futures predominantly, and I trade Nasdaq. So QQQ and Nasdaq are. Oh, this isn't QQQ. Sorry, this is QCOM. I just saw Q and got way too excited. All that still. Remember all that when I go into QQQ, but QCOM. We are, hold on, let me go back to AMD and make sure. AMD's ATR just spiked. That's crazy. It's now 36, which is insane. Oh my gosh. So we're at 36. What is CRM? 7? I'm not even filling these out. Okay, so QCOM is a 10. So let's change that. And we are sitting in a buy zone. Earnings is also on the same day as all the other ones. We are sitting in a buy zone. So we're going to keep an eye out for that. Why do I have CRM flagged? We don't need to have CRM flagged. I will leave Microsoft flagged. Apparently I flagged that because I'm looking at a potential bear flag. So we'll keep that. And QCOM is in a buy zone, so I have that flagged up here, this green, because it's sitting in one, and this is what I'm looking for. I think I was playing around with this indicator, and that's why some of these have this. This is a good indicator though. I used to use this a lot when I first started trading. The only reason I stopped was because when I come in here to do certain things with smaller time frames, it is within this indicator, and even though you can't see it, this is all filling. And so it was just really, I don't know how to explain it. It was really frustrating to try to maneuver inside of this because whatever I did affected the indicator itself. And so it was kind of hard to like edit, make notes, things like that. So I stopped using it. But it's a pretty solid, it's basically the parallel channel indicator right here. So that's what it's called. But anyway, it's pretty good for learning how to draw trend lines. So you start one point, and then, like I said, you're just trying to connect as many as possible. You can even do one of those. And what it's going to do is immediately, as soon as you press the button, it's going to drag this one down, and you can just quickly line it up. And then now you have your channel. And even that's another strategy. See, there's all kinds of strategies. You can, once you have a solid like 3-point touch, you can just ride it zone to zone. Like, I mean, line to line to stay within the channel. Again, we can, let's see, once it broke, so we have some consolidation, and then once it broke that consolidation with a close lower than what it had been here, then you can come back up here and draw your channel. You're trying to get as close to 3 as possible, and then you could have just, okay, we're going down, so you look for a move up here and then just write it down until it breaks out of that trend or channel. So that's one of the ways my mentor taught how to trade or strategy. Because like I said, I had 2 mentors, but one of them, that's how they taught us was, here are all the strategies that you can do. Pick one that makes sense that you see in the moment. So we got pretty good at spotting opportunities to take trades. The issue is that it didn't really tackle the psychology part and how seeing too many opportunities can create a lot of room to make the wrong decision, make frantic decisions, make FOMO type decisions. Like, it just doesn't work. So that's why I don't teach that way. But yeah, we are though inside of 2 zones for this purpose of for the whole video. Purpose of this type of video, we are in between 2 zones. So we're gonna just fix the ATR and keep moving because we don't see. And now we're gonna go. That was Home Depot. Now we're in Boeing. And Boeing is sitting in a buy zone. Well, no, it broke out of that, so I don't like that. I don't like when it breaks out. But apparently, I charted this and didn't take the trade. When was this? The beginning of July? Yeah, didn't take that. So that's also why I need to start making alerts like I just did in Tesla, because I'll chart it and then I'll just not. And I just go about doing other things because, we're on the daily chart. So sometimes these things take like a week to happen, and then you miss it. So that's why I'm glad I'm starting using my alerts again. But we broke out of that zone, and we did touch this gap that was created here, which is why we also keep gaps, because gaps also act as support resistances. This is a buyer's gap that sellers were not able to intercept at the time, so they hovered over here, and then it looks like buyers might be picking up speed. We do have earnings the day before all the other ones on the 20th of Tuesday, which is Tuesday, next Tuesday. So it does look like there's some exhaustion happening with the MACD, so we could be looking at a potential move back up into this area here, which which is going at least as high as, or not at least, but probably around 228. I'm gonna guess, but I don't know. Like I said, it could run down. I don't just make decisions or jump in trades off of one specific. Oh, it touched here, get in. That's not how I trade or recommend people trade. But just off of that alone, I'm just like, okay, we might be looking at a potential discontinuation of the downward move and possibly moving up to at least cool off this downward movement. So, and that's the thing too, because it did create a lower low from here, but sometimes you can also just ride it up to possibly like this level here where buyers are last out before it continues going down. And so this, you could do both. You could ride it up and then ride it back down. We do have this supply zone here, but we also have a little one here. And if earnings weren't coming up, I don't know. I'm kind of interested now because this would be a fresh zone. So let's see. We're going to just see what happens. So we're going to hit crossing up once per minute. I want to know as soon as price hits 216.25. I want to see what happens, what price does. I would not be surprised. And I'm only doing this because I see gaps in the zone not too far, but I'm curious to see what happens with Boeing on Tuesday. I might or might not trade that. I don't like to tell people when I'm getting in trades, by the way. I don't like that. I'm going to remove that flag, though. So, yeah. Now, we're going to skip SPY and go to NVIDIA. This buy zone was beat up a lot, and also this closed outside. So, we are no longer in a true buy zone, so we're going to delete that. And we are consolidating. I don't like how choppy it is. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna hold you. I don't like how choppy it is. We are creating lower lows. See, our lower highs, high, lower high, lower high. But then we stopped here, so there's a low that's lower than that. But then we have this double bottom, 1, 2, and then price begins to come up and hit here. So we're just ranging at this point. We're just ranging at that point. So ew, I don't like it. What is this? I don't know what that is. So I'm gonna delete it because I don't remember what it did. It's Nvidia's been moving a lot of. I'm kind of crappy lately. Where's my ATR? No, we don't have one. We'll just make one then. So I'll just do ATR. What is it? 7. I like to make it a little big. There we go. And then I anchor it so that it goes wherever I go. Yeah. I don't have a lot of faith that this is going to continue running up. I don't. And we were doing it down, and we were just in a downtrend. I don't know. Part of me feels like it's building up to continue to get lower. I actually might want to move that up to this point here and just acknowledge this specific zone since we did double top here because right here we did double top here. So that's something to note. What would that look like? Let's see. I have a lot of selections. I like that their earnings is not until August, like a month away, basically. That makes me feel better because earnings can just be so unpredictable that sometimes earnings doesn't always honor the like rules or the consistency. What was told to me by my mentor is if you're going to trade around earnings, go back in time and kind of watch how that stock behaves around earnings. Some stocks don't. Some stocks I'll just leave it like that. Just take what you will with that. AAP is at an all-time high, so we're not even gonna touch that with a 10-foot pole. Charter, I'm about to take off. Yeah, we're gonna take this off. I don't want to even. But Charter's at a 52-week low, by the way. So if you're one of those buy the dip, sell the rip type people, Charter's at an all-time low. So you can probably add that to your watch list as something to keep an eye out for, to see when it's going to actually stop dumping, because it's just been dumping. But I never trade Charter. Don't know why it's on my chart. Like, I don't trade Charter. Autodesk is a really, really nice beginner friendly because it honors the rules and it's smooth sailing. It's not too volatile, but it does give you just enough of a move where you're like, oh, okay, I'm not mad at that. I feel like Nike's the same way. Nike's really, really good for beginners too, because at least the last time I checked, the contracts weren't that expensive. So Autodesk did come in here and close out this gap, so we're gonna delete the gap, and it touched this zone. Is that a fresh zone? I'm going to be so upset if that's a fresh zone. It is. It's a fresh. God damn it! It's a fresh zone. See, this is why I'm going to start putting alerts, because look at that. Came here, touched it. Came here, touched it with hold on, I have another chart that has a different set of indicators. So that's why it looks so different. Ignore that. That's a whole other explanation that I'm not going to go into for the purpose of making this video not ridiculously long. Wait. Okay, so we're looking at the same chart, just different. I'm just looking at it. I just need to see an indicator real quick. Okay, so this is my stochastic down here, as you can see. So we were right here. That would have been such a good trade. And then what? Also, this is Heikin-Ashi over here too. These are Heikin-Ashi candles too, by the way. I know, it's a whole other world over here. Yeah. Dang. You could have even got out here. I like to do this sometimes just to kind of check to see. We rode that until a break of trend here. That's still a $20 move. Dang. What's the date? What's the date on that? Till about what here? 11 bars, so that's 11 trade days, 16 calendar days. I think you hit maybe a couple weekends in here, something like that. Oh, wow. So 2 weeks. Yeah. Gonna start back swing trading. Put those alerts on there so you don't miss out on moves like that when they happen. Because when they happen, they hit. Well, I mean, it's not 100% proof strategy. I'm never playing that, but that would have been nice. And that's also why you just saw in real time, you kind of showed you why it's so important to try to catch the fresh move. That's an untapped zone, meaning it had never been touched before. Those are super, super strong. Those are the best zones to get into. Yeah, I'm not going to spend too much time getting upset about that. Oh, here goes another flag demonstration though. So you have a downtrend and then you have a pullback slightly. And it's like kind of going sideways for like at least a couple of days. And then it just drops. I charted that and didn't trade it. Why? But we did also have a revisitation. Revisitation? Why does that sound Yeah, revisit is the word. Okay, it's the word. It just sounded weird, revisitation. I don't think I've ever said it like that. But we did have a return to this seller zone, and now we're dropping because that is also a fresh zone. Get the fresh zones. Get the fresh zones. I decided to add turmeric to my green tea today. And I don't know what it is, but it's just making my cheeks like, I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't think I'm having an allergic reaction to it, but it is definitely giving me a physical reaction every time I sip it. It's not unpleasant, it's just different. It feels more acidic. I don't know why. So anyway, can't do anything with that. I have to hurry up. My kid is moving. Google blew through the zone, so we're going to delete that. We're going to delete all the unnecessary lines too. I actually should have did that with Amazon because we don't need these lines anymore. Like they're not necessary. Also, Amazon's ATR is up. Okay, so Google ATR went up to 11. I'm glad they're going back up because Google had a stock split like, I don't know, a few years ago. And I haven't traded Google since because the ATR like dropped to a point where I was like, nope. But I never took it off because Google's such a good, like you want to have like solid companies with like a substantial history behind them because we're technical traders, so we need that history. So I kept Google on my watch list. I just didn't trade it for years as I needed it to kind of go up a little bit, move up a little bit. So now that it's where its ATR is good, it's like, okay, Google's cool, so we can start actively trading that. Google just had earnings not too long ago and created this nice size gap, so we are going to chart that because we need to be aware of where the gaps are. I do not include my wicks, by the way, when I do my gaps. Again, everything I'm doing, I don't know if I've said this already, but this is how I chart and trade. I don't care about how he charts, how she charts, how they chart. This is how I do it. This is what works for me. And I'm sharing it. If you don't agree with it, if you don't like it, if you don't like the way my chart looks, I can't believe in 2026 we have to do these disclaimers. I'm a kid from the 90s. When we didn't like something, we just kept it moving. We didn't have nothing nice to say. We just didn't say anything. I don't know. These new people scare me because I just don't have time to have like internet beef. That's really weird to me that you would beef with like what's possibly, who knows what's on the other side of that screen, you know? But I just want to say that just because I feel like people get really sensitive and emotional about other people's stuff. But this is my chart. I like my charts pink. I like my background black. I like my gaps. I like my zones the way I do them. And if you don't like it, then I'm just really glad it's not your chart. So, and if it upsets you, you know, the internet is a beautiful place. You can click off and find someone else to to watch that, you know, fits what it is that you're looking for. Thank God for options, you know. So, anyway, enough of that. Just want to put that disclaimer in here real quick. Yeah, I think we're too premature to really do any. Ooh, hold on. Wait a second. Google, what's going on? We're in between two gaps. Nice. Okay, I'm gonna make this one just a little different so that future me doesn't get confused about all the lines. So this is for this gap, and these two are a pair for this gap. And then we do have. We do have like a little. Yeah. I kind of like it. I'm gonna add it as a something to watch. I just. Okay, so mindset. We're sitting in a key level, but we're in between two zones. Two gaps. We're in between a seller's gap and a buyer's gap. My theory is that we would need some sort of, and it's consolidated too on the day that the day after the earnings came out, and then the next day, Friday. So we would need some sort of breakout, either going up or down. Now, if we're just looking at the technical side, Google has been making consistent lower lows and lower highs, except for this point, but it double topped. It's like almost as like it went up to grab more orders before it plummeted. So we're still technically in this bear trend, right? And so we've been doing that for a while. So in my theory is that I would be, if I was trading this, I'd be looking for a ride up. Let me move over here. And we are, It's like the bottom of the stochastic. You can pull up another LSC indicator. That's another thing too. My mentor, we learned a lot of indicators. So I don't use all of the indicators, but sometimes it doesn't matter. I explain all this in my course. So I don't want to like regurgitate, but we are at the bottom of the ATI. I like this. I mean, not the ATI, the RSI. Ooh, Google. Okay. I like Google so much. I'm going to write it down. We'll see what happens though. Like I said, I don't say what I'm going to actually do. I just give ideas, but I'm watching Google. I have my eye on Google to the point where I wrote it on my to-do list. I'm just plugging the apps on the internet. Anyway, moving on to Shopify, we're going to delete these lines because the gap has already been filled. And as you can see, too, I love the way, like, technical, nobody can tell me technical analysis is pointless because it's so not. Even gaps you can play. You can, like I said, gaps act as support or resistance. You could have literally came in here, saw that it closed this gap, and as long as you see that it's failing to make a higher high and that sellers are stepping back in, you could have wrote this right back to the where the gap started. That right there is what is that? That's a $10 move right there. Like there's so many ways you can trade. Trading is not hard. Psychology in trading is hard. You just have to know what to look for, focus on that, see it, don't hesitate, be bold but patient, and enter. But anyway, we're going to delete that because we don't need the gaps. Gap has already been filled, so we don't need to see more lines in necessary. We would need to find. I don't like to draw zones inside of consolidate. Like this is too clustered. It's too close to the current price. So I'm gonna go back some more, and I'm probably gonna acknowledge more so like this area over here as far as this would be a better level to see, which it did touch this area before it dropped, but we're going to wait to see what happens. But I mean, we already have one that we're looking at, so it's okay. Nike's a really good beginner friendly stock. I need to add my ATRs back. Shopify moved down in ATR when it dropped to 5. So that's something to keep in mind. And then Nike, I don't even, ATR is right here. Why are you not where you're supposed to be? ATR is still 1. I'm going to anchor you. Stay there. So it closed the gap, so we deleted that. Now it has been acting as a resistance to this gap here. And it looks like we're approaching, or we're trying to approach this buyer zone here, but we are consolidating. And like I said, I don't like consolidations unless it's on a higher time frame, like not higher time frame, a higher stock, ATR, like your Teslas, your Nvidias, your Metas. I don't like to just sit in this unless I'm like charting it to play a flag. Like that's the only time, because otherwise this right here it's been consolidating 114 calendar days. That's like what, over 3 months? No, that's crazy. That's crazy. So Nike's we're not doing anything with right now. Humana is at an all-time. Is it an all-time high or is it? No, it's not an all-time high. That's how you can tell if it's an all-time high or not. I do chart the 52-week highs, but 52-week high and all-time high is different. But I do like to see 52-week high line here because I want a, how do I say this? I want a zone that was not from years and years and years and years ago, and it's too close to that line. Like I don't want to do it that way. I don't want it to be super high. I like to have a recent zone, if that makes sense. But it's not all-time high because Humana has got all the way to 500 and we're at 300 right now. So, and the ATR did increase to 13, so we can update that. And we can move this line up to 420, 428. So this is like just chart maintenance at this point. It's what I'm doing, 428.88. I usually, like I said, do this either while he's asleep, today's Saturday, or I'll do this Sunday. I try to do these before the market opens up. So we're kind of too close to. Oh, I can do it over here too because you guys can't see it. But you go here, and the teal flag is what I use for the all-time high 52-week highs. Berkshire. Let's see. ATR is 6. So we are also on Berkshire and Hathaway also consolidating. Consolidation is orange for me. It's the orange flag. I actually need to do that for Nike too. So let me come back over here. Let's do the orange flag because we're consolidating. Zoom. Zoom ATR is the same. Zoom just left out of a buy zone that's been hit once before. But we did leave out that buy zone. Buy zone's not super far from where price is. I don't know. That's subjective too. You're the person that can decide whether that's too far or not. Some people can be like, okay, well, it touched the buy zone and closed outside of the line that touched it, and that's a good confirmation. Whatever your confirmation is, you rock that. Yeah, I missed my exit. My entry would have been on that day. So this wouldn't have worked anyway. So we missed another one. And probably we can always like fake trade it though and see what happened. I mean, oops, not where is it? TP. TP. It's a $10 move. We'll see what happens. That's how I would have took that trade if I got in, if I had caught it in time, but we'll see. Grayscale, I do not trade. I don't know why that's up here. Sometimes I just add stuff to my watch list because I'm looking at it, but it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to trade this. Or if you hear all that background, they're like barbecuing and stuff, so it's commotion in the kitchen. IWM, VOO, they're all kind of high for me right now. So I'm just going to keep it moving. We're on Alibaba, which I'm going to delete that. We do have this huge gap up here. I mean down here. My kid is waking up, so I'm going to have to go. That's okay. We got through most of it. We got through more than half, so I actually hit my goal. But it does look like it's revisiting. So far, we do like Google, and I think I have an alert for Tesla, and so, yeah. I think there was another one I was looking at. I think Microsoft. Was it Microsoft that I was looking at? Walmart blew through, so we have to delete that. We have a zone here. But we do need to find a zone. I'm going to find Walmart, an area for Walmart, and then I have to go. Oh, that's a beautiful sign right there. Really just kind of consolidating here. Oh, he's crying. Okay, yeah, I gotta go, guys. I gotta go. But if I do any updates as far as what I end up, if I took a trade, if I took a swing or whatever, it'll probably be on my shorts, and then maybe I'll come on here after the fact and like kind of do a trade recap. But that's so far what I've gotten. Um, Yeah, I think he's looking for me. So I will see you guys in another video. Okay. I hope you guys learned something though. If you did, if you learned anything, then give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, because I'm going to continue doing more content like this. If you want to know a little bit more in-depth information or be connected in that kind of way, as far as any updates or Zoom, future Zoom calls, again, link is in the description of my website where the course and everything is. So yeah, until then, I'll see you guys and have a great rest of your day. Bye.